Good morning, everybody. I'm back. If you saw the last video on the Forbidden Rite Occultist, you know that at 40 exalts, it was okay, but not that good. There were a lot of people, you know, the theme of that video was along the lines of, all right, 40 exalts, it's playable. But there were, you know, plenty of very fair comments saying, cost 40 exalts to do that? And I spent some time this week taking it to the next level. And that primarily was not through currency. I've spent maybe 10 to 15 more X. We can say we're roughly in the 50X range, and it feels way, way better. And a lot of that was just some very low-hanging fruit or accessible stuff for a lot of players here. The thing that I would recommend is, like, if you want to play this build, just level up a high-level character. The very most important thing here is that I leveled up the character to level 97. It's really funny with this build how very little tweaks can make such a big difference. So this, I think, is roughly about what I would call mid-level, 50X invested. You could put this together for cheaper than that. I have spent 50X because I've had some fumbles here and there. All right, so let's take a look at what I got and what I've changed. You'll notice that my character is leveled 97. As I was saying, that is the most important thing. And in fact, I really want to hit level 100 with this character. Every single level is very, very notable when it comes to your passive points. And we get so much value at the amount of scaling that we're at right now, specifically through additional medium cluster jewels here. This is one of the very big changes that I made yesterday. Also, I went from 4 million DPS to about 8.2 million. In fact, let me check. Yeah, 8.4. I'm actually almost at 8.5 million DPS right now. More than doubled my DPS by spending less than 100 chaos. I changed almost nothing. And that is entirely because I leveled up. I was able to get another medium cluster jewel in. I got rid of, I call them danglers, kind of like these small points that you have sitting off to the side. I had a couple of those that were kind of inefficient. By leveling up one additional time, I was able to sneak in an additional medium cluster jewel here. And this alone gives me so much. This jewel alone gives me like 1.5 million damage. That's how much additional levels and more cluster jewels do for this build. The really big thing I keep ping-ponging on this is previously I had Profane Bloom, and I still think if you're purely mapping, and especially at max investment, Profane Bloom / having the Forbidden Jewels that will give you Profane Bloom is basically best in slot for clearing. It's so good for popping the entire screen, really speeds up and smooths up that clear. But at my current investment, Malediction is just way too good. Being able to have +1 curse, making them do less damage, made me do more damage, and additional strength of my curses. The big thing here, though, is it saves us 3 passive points, which, as you can see, is by itself almost another medium cluster jewel. The value of having a really good medium cluster jewel here. I also tweaked this one. This one was really inefficient before. Spent like 10 chaos just re-rolling it, hit pressure points, basics of pain. And yeah, all of that just all added together, adding up to a lot more damage. So other than that, on my passive tree, absolutely nothing has changed. I just dropped Profane Bloom again and leveled up an additional time, was able to sneak in this medium cluster jewel and made a big, big difference in my damage. And the very, very embarrassing change here that made a gigantic difference for my build was an increased critical damage support. A lot of people that I see are using Power Charge on crit on PoE Ninja, and I was just doing that. I was just dropping in, kind of copy pasting on PoE Ninja. And maybe at very high investment, you know, when you have 10 plus power charges, I only have 7 right now. Maybe, you know, it does give you more damage per power charge. Maybe that's enough. I'm actually not sure. Like, this gives you so much crit multi. I'm surprised that the people on PoE Ninja are doing that. I would have to import their characters and double check. But yeah, if you don't know, a thing that you can do is, you know, make sure you have your everything calculated and set up properly. Make sure you have your primary skill set up. And then you can just go to your skills right here and then just go to the drop downs. And you can see it will sort by default by DPS. This is not 100% accurate because the way that Forbidden Rite works is you can't really overlap with every single cat. I think, oh, I call them cats. My cat's on crit with the MTX. You can't overlap with every single projectile no matter what. I think, like, unless you have like insane increased AoE, about 5 projectiles is the expected overlap for the most single target damage. So I'm actually better off using Volley here, which gives me 5 cats, than using something like Greater Volley, which would give me more cats, but they actually would give me a less damage modifier. Instead of having just 2% less projectile damage, it would be 20% less projectile damage. And the additional proj would actually not overlap on the single target, so I actually lose a significant amount of damage. So you want to be keeping yourself around 5 projectiles, like actually exactly at 5 projectiles if you can. So that's why you'll see some people maybe drop volley and put in Dying Sun or anything like that. You're really just trying to tweak it to keep that 5 projectile limit. You'll see that if we scroll down here, power charge on crit loses me 1.3 million damage per second. I just attempted some bosses the previous day. You know, I was around 4 million DPS. I just went in here and I clicked on this and I saw, oh my God, increased critical damage. Boom, tons more damage. I had a 2020 just sitting in my stash, dropped that in, got a ton more damage. You can even do that with your alt quality gems. It will tell you if you do more or less damage with all of your alt qualities here as well. Just mouse over them, let it tell you. Do be aware that PoB is not perfect, so you can't perfectly rely on that with like projectiles and stuff like that. That's what I'm looking at right now. You know, roughly 8.5 million DPS. Will be a little bit less on the single target. Oh, and then the other really big notable change. Oh, if you missed the video on the Eternal Struggle, definitely check that out, why I talked about it. This is really good. This dropped for me from the Black Star. It has random implicits, and if you get it from the Black Star, you will get a 15% cull as well, which is obviously huge. That's almost a Slayer cull, which is incredible. Increased global defenses, and just gives me 45% increased damage on the implicit there. Definitely, if you're playing a more budget version of this build, until you want to buy an Ashes of the Stars, this is incredible. Also takes care of a lot of my stat issues. Top tier, very cheap amulet for my build. The one notable gear change here, I think like literally nothing else changed gear-wise besides that. I picked this up last night for 60 chaos. Previously, I had a Call to Arms, Skin of the Lords, which is really good. You know, I liked having the Enduring Cry, the endurance charges, all that was really good. However, you'll notice I have 41,000 armor with my flask up. And so I have a good amount of armor right now, and yeah, additional physical damage reduction is nice, but that's not the thing that was killing me. The number one thing with this defensive layout, using Aegis Aurora, melding the flesh, all that type of stuff, is damage over time. Specifically, degens on the ground when you're trying to fight those Uber bosses, especially if you fought Cirrus or Uber Elder. They're just having those little degen pools everywhere all over the arena. The really nice thing here is with Leith Shade, take 50% less damage over time if you started taking it in the past second. 100% more duration of ailments on you, so bleeding, ignite, scorch, chill, frozen, brittle, shock, sap, poison. That does kind of suck, but I am freeze immune, I have reduced effective chill on me, I am shock immune, I am poison immune. I'm not really dealing with ignites right now, so that is kind of annoying, and I also have an anti-bleed flask. So I don't worry about most of those. And, you know, you're always taking it within the last second. If you're like walking in and out of different degen pools, that 50% less damage over time taken is always active, which is really good. Strongly recommend something like that. I got really lucky. I just saw it 60 chaos last night. I was just shopping around. You know, my goal with this build is to take down all of the Uber bosses before going to high investment. So that might not be possible. I'm trying to push it to the absolute limit on low investment. So we're going to see how that goes. That's my goal. Might not be possible, but we already have Uber Cortex down, minus certain things being really annoying. Non-curse aura effect or cooldown recovery rate. There are a lot of new map mods that like are really rough for this build, but you just got to roll over them. You got to roll over. There's a lot of mods you have to roll over. But as long as there's no really bad mods, this, I think I'm going to just declare it. This is the tankiest build that I've ever played, even at this investment. I am so tanky with my, with my block cap, the Aegis Aurora, 86 all res right now, which will go up to 90 all res once I get to higher investment. Yeah, just like really good sustain, really high armor. Feels really good. But we're going to go for that mini goal of seeing how many Uber bosses we can take down before, we jump the gun and put some really high investment in the build. All right, so anyway, that is going to be the video for me today. Just a quick little update. I had a few of y'all asking me on an update for where I've taken this build since the last video, and I am very happy to say if you just put a little bit more into it, and I think you can do this for like 30x, the key is just get more levels on your character. If I took this all the way to level 100, the goal would just be get another medium cluster jewel, probably another projectile one, really push that damage a lot further, would go a lot, that's the key, really. And then after that, Mage Blood, Ashes of the Stars, and Grasping Mail. And also, I will be doing a podcast with Locahall, Sniz, and Omicid tomorrow morning. So I think I'll at least post highlights to this channel, so get subscribed if you're interested in that. And yeah, I'm going to go get ready for the stream. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.